Hey there guys, CrossFlux here, and welcome back to Let's Play Cookie Run OvenBreak. In the last episode, we were introduced to the main character of GingerBrave, as well as his plight of having to escape a wicked witch's oven so that he doesn't get eaten. But kind of looks like he's on a plate right now. Maybe we failed? Actually, that gets me thinking. Cookies are designed to be eaten. So is he just running away from his destiny? Should he give in and just let the witch eat him? Maybe I'm giving too much thought to the game where you run as cookies. Anyways, in today's episode, we'll continue that storyline just briefly as we tackle the main mode of the game, Trophy Race. So let's come over here, select this. So as you can see, there are a couple different modes in the game, but definitely the mainest of main modes, at least from the developer's point of view, is Trophy Race. It gets the most updates, it's where most people spend their time. But that is when you're in the meta portion of the game, which is where it puts you by default. So I'm actually going to come over here and go all the way back to Land 1, which are the very first stages of the game. And it continues where GingerBrave's trial left off. If you recall, he was escaping from the oven and was kind of running along her countertops. And in this land, we see them escape from the house altogether. But you'll also notice a new cookie. We have good old GingerBrave here. So let's take a quick look at her. I apologize for the tiny little jump cut there. There have been incredibly large amounts of ambulances running past the house today. I don't know why, and I pray for whoever's involved, but for me personally, it is a little bit annoying. This is the second interruption I've had. So, anyways, let's take a look at GingerBrave here. She actually has an ability, unlike GingerBrave, even though they look remarkably similar. But her ability is pretty simple, to be honest, so I'm not going to give her too much credit. She just causes a little peppermint jelly to appear every so often, and it's worth a bit of points. Definitely more than regular jellies. Anyways, maybe the witch thought GingerBrave seemed lonely all by himself, because she baked GingerBrave with the leftover dough from making GingerBrave. Sweet and bubbly GingerBrave is full of life, but this smart cookie clearly knows that it would be a bad idea to offer her lollipop to GingerBrave. So, I'm not really sure what they're trying to say with this backstory. I mean, I definitely get kind of an Adam and Eve vibe, like how Eve was made from Adam's rib, GingerBrave is made from the leftover dough of GingerBrave. So, I guess in a way, they're kind of related. Maybe they're like brother and sister. But, I don't really know why it would be a bad idea to offer her lollipop to GingerBrave. Maybe he's addicted to lollipops? Like I said, don't really know. Maybe I shouldn't be giving it so much thought. But she also has a pet of her own, so let's take a quick look at his story. Or her story, might be a she. Who knows? It's just a little drop of cheese. Picked from cheeseberry bushes of the witch's forest towards the end of summer. Missed jellies along the way? No worries, Cheese Drop will collect them for you. How nice. Although, I gotta admit, the idea of a cheeseberry bush? Oh man, that sounds great. I want to grow one of those in my backyard. Alright, so one thing you may have noticed, compared to the trial, is we were actually selecting from 2 cookies in a trophy race mode. And that is indeed correct. You have a main cookie and what they refer to as a relay cookie. So when your first cookie runs out of energy, you get to run with the second cookie immediately afterward, albeit at a reduced energy state. So it's just a kind of a neat way to be able to use more than one cookie at a time. That way you have a little more variety in the gameplay. But these trophy race stages are definitely a bit shorter. They're designed to take about 4 to maybe 6 minutes to complete, because usually by then your cookies will run out of energy. But again, this is the main mode of the game, and I guess that's because, you know, it is still a mobile game. So it's designed to be, you know, more or less the time waster while you're waiting on a bus to get to work, or you're on lunch break, you know, stuff like that, in between classes. So that explains the shorter runtime. But as a result, I, again, as you can tell from my channel, I prefer console games and handheld games, real games. But yeah, as a result, I prefer the other modes of the game, which are a bit longer and more story-driven. But here we are introduced to bonus time. That's right. So if you look at the top left of the screen, you'll notice the word, well, bonus time. So, kind of like in Donkey Kong Country, how you can collect letters throughout the stage. Well, occasionally you'll find what they call alphabet jellies, which spell out the words bonus time. When you collect all of these jellies, or whenever you collect one particular jelly that is just an instant bonus time, your cookie will be transported to that magical land, where everything is happy and glowing, and you just collect a lot of jellies without expending any energy, and you can fly, and it's amazing, and I wish I could enter bonus time. But I'm not a cookie, so... Anyways... It seems GingerBrave has finally made it outside the witch's oven. We seem to be running around in her garden in the background. So, ooh, another thing I forgot to mention is I mixed up the treasures from last time. Like I mentioned in the Hero Cookies trial, occasionally I'll mix up the treasures just to keep the gameplay interesting. So the treasures that I'm using this time are the Red Egg of Resurrection, I think that's what it's called. Basically, when my cookie runs out of energy, it'll revive with a little bit more energy, so you can keep going a little bit longer than you'd otherwise be able to. And you even have a blast mode at the end of that revival. So, pretty neat, but of course you get that secondary effect when the treasure is upgraded fully. So again, there are RPG-ish elements to the game, I guess you could say, in the vaguest sense, because there is a level up. You can level up your cookies, extending their energy, and sometimes making it to where they score more points or activate their special abilities faster. You can do that with pets, and you can do that with treasures as well. And usually, different treasures will have different effects based on how high you get it. Kind of like with a cookie's magic candy. Ow, I just smacked the ball. Well, that's what I get for being greedy. I was trying to get that bear treasure, or bear party jelly, which temporarily turns basic jellies into yellow bears. So, you know, they're worth more points that way. But as I was saying before I interrupted myself with poor gameplay, you can level up treasures beyond their max level, kind of in a similar fashion to how a cookie has magic candy, which I briefly mentioned in the last video in Hero Cookies trial. But also, as you can see, we finally got to see what that relay process looks like, because GingerBrave ran out of energy, and now we're GingerBrave. I do kind of wish that the game would automatically force you to run instead of having to actually tap the middle of the screen, because since I use a keyboard, I have to move my hand to get to the mouse, and first world problems. I have to go to the center of the screen and tap the button just to get it to say, yeah, let's run as GingerBrave now. You know, it's not like I wanted to or anything. I selected him from the main menu. But I guess they probably did that in case you screwed up really bad as your first cookie. That way you wouldn't waste time running as the second cookie. You could just let the energy run out and then just start over from scratch. But, you know, if you're messing up that badly, you can just pause the game in the stage and start over that way. So I don't know why they just don't automatically let you run. Anyways, we're almost at the end of the line here, folks. GingerBrave's only got a few more seconds. Any final words, dude? Stoic and silent as ever, eh, GingerBrave? But you know what? I think we have time for one more trophy race. So let's go ahead and see what Land 2 has to offer. And in fact, Land 2 is actually a bit interesting because it is where we unlock our first cookie. Obviously, this is my personal account, so I already have every cookie unlocked. But if you look here, you can unlock your first epic cookie. This is Fairy Cookie. She was one of the first epic cookies released, which different cookies have different rarity levels, and in general, the rarer the cookie, the more valuable they are, the better they score. Fairy Cookie is an exception because she was one of the first epic cookies released, and like with many mobile games, as the game updates, the developers encourage you to use newer content over older content so that you're more likely to spend money on the game to get said new content. But I still like Fairy Cookie. She's kind of neat and cute. She's definitely a fairy, so being that kind of fae background, she has a mischievous personality, which we'll see from her story. So let's take a quick look. With the least calories and highest fiber content, she is the healthiest cookie of all. She can even produce oxygen, which keeps the air clean around her. She uses the energy of the forest to create a protective shield. Those who envy Fairy Cookie say she has strawberry jam of ambition inside, but you don't believe them, right? That's actually kind of ominous, as we'll learn a little bit more about the cookie world. Strawberry jam in particular has a negative connotation associated with it. More or less evil, actually. But again, we'll save that for another time. Her special ability is a magnetic aura shield. So while she has this shield equipped, she's protected from one obstacle, and she automatically attracts jellies to her. Definitely a handy ability. But I don't need to see her story anymore. I actually need to go over to her pet and take a look at her partner. Now, I apologize also if there are tiny little jump cuts in the video. As I mentioned in the last episode, emulating this game can be a bit laggy in the menus. At least it's fine once you're in game. But out of game, the transitions between different screens can take a while. So I'll jump in between that to save you guys some time. But her pet flower pod just produces jellies every so often. It's a pretty bland pet in all honesty. This flower pot is too shy to even bloom, and so delicate it withers from even the smallest comments and tears up in empathy from news of strong winds in faraway lands. So be very, very careful when you are with this sensitive pet. But when the sunshine is warm and the air is clear, it will bloom and dance with joy. Aw, how sweet. Alright, and one last cookie to look at is the relay cookie that I've chosen here. This is good old zombie cookie. Look at him. Can you really hate a cookie like that? But like with many zombies in media, he just won't die. His ability lets him revive himself many, many times. But as for his story, Zombie Cookie was thoroughly underbaked and slopped carelessly with strawberry jam and melted chocolate. But you see, the key ingredient for Zombie Cookie is a pinch of zombie cells to the dough. And no need to worry about getting your own. They can be easily acquired at the local cemetery. This cookie refuses to die, but it sure likes to just lie there. Very funny. But let's take a look at Land 2, where outside the witch's domain is the Jellybug Forest. Do you feel the energy of the forest? Well, to be honest, I don't, but you apparently do, and that's all that matters since you're the one running. I'm just sitting here on the sidelines. Yay, go Fairy Cookie! So I do apologize if this video is a little bit longer than normal. I definitely try to keep my videos around the 15-minute mark, but if I had left it at just Land 1's trophy race, it would have been too little content for my liking for the video. And the way it is now, probably going over a little bit, but hey, more content's more content, right? So hopefully you guys are happy with that. Let me know how you guys like the structure of these videos. I can definitely tweak things a little bit here and there depending on what you guys would prefer. But oh man, look at Fairy Cookie's little slide animation. She actually flaps those wings very vigorously, so pretty neat. Like with Hero Cookie, Fairy Cookie does have a magic candy of her own, and that is actually what is causing those little glowing flower jellies. So if I'm not mistaken, they don't do anything other than just score a lot. If I am wrong, I'll throw up on screen what those jellies do. Of course, I'll get into more detail later as to how you access magic candies and what upgrading those looks like. But again, everything with time. Patience, young one. Patience. I actually really like the aesthetic of the Jellybug Forest. I really like the jelly worms. Gummy worms are basically my favorite candy in real life, so hey, seeing them portrayed in a video game is definitely really neat. But also, between the music and the colors that are used, it's almost kind of like a watercolor look. It actually makes me think of the Mario and Luigi series. RIP Alpha Dream, by the way. It's a real shame what Nintendo did to you guys. But anyways, yeah, so I'm definitely a big fan every time you see the Jellybug Forest. Because again, there's different areas of this world and different stages will bring back different areas in different ways. And it's different every time. And I wonder if there's a different way to say different so that I don't have to keep saying different differently. That made absolutely no sense. I'm more or less just rambling. So good old bonus time to save me there. When she rises, it's almost like she's singing a little song. Very cute. And it looks like Flower Pot is feeling comfortable enough to come out of its shell and actually bloom a bit here in bonus time. But alas, all good things must come to the end. But it seems we have actually reached the King Jellybug Cave. Is that what it said? Right as we re-entered Atmosphere from leaving bonus time. But yeah, so Trophy Race will occasionally change up the background a little bit as you make progress because, well, it's supposed to be like a story. You're actually running somewhere, right? You're not just doing laps. Oh man, look at those fat gummy worms there. Man, I would love to eat one of those in real life. Oh, that reminds me. You guys ever seen like those giant gummy bear candies? I'm not sure what time of year they come around, but I feel like they only come out every so often. Maybe it's around Christmas, but I didn't really see any this year. But anyways, they're like these 30-pound gummy bear, like it's just this huge honking statue of candy. I don't think you're actually meant to eat them. I think you're just supposed to get them as a little gag gift, like, huh, isn't it funny? You got a really big gummy bear. But I don't know, man. I've never gotten one, and I kind of want one. Like, I would actually eat that thing. I would try and do it in one sitting, too. Usually I eat entire packages of gummy bears just in one sitting. I love those things. My teeth hate me for it, and my teeth have definitely started to hurt because of it. But, small price to pay for gummies. That also reminds me, there is a specific rule into how you eat gummy objects. A lot of people don't know this, but you eat gummy bears when you're sad, because you can bite off their heads and it makes you feel better to do that. Gummy worms, on the other hand, are what you eat when you're feeling good, because they're fun to play with, you just twist, you tear them off, it's fun. So that is the definitive way to eat gummy candy. If anyone tells you otherwise, they are wrong, and you can tell them that I told you that they were wrong. So, let me deal with it. You don't have to deal with that kind of stuff. You don't need that kind of negativity in your life. Alright, so we actually see Zombie Cookie's special ability kicking in there as he just revives himself after I foolishly got hit. But he'll actually have a couple more revives. If only I could revive my voice, because I'm rambling and speaking over myself and not doing a good job at commentating. So I apologize for those of you who actually sat through this video. But we're almost done. Zombie Cookie can't revive himself forever. The laws of physics won't allow it. Entropy says that usable energy slowly decays into a state of unuse. So even though he can keep reviving himself, eventually that process will end. Wow, you guys like that? Little science lesson in your little game about sentient cookies? Man, I'll never get over the concept for this game. Whoever came up with it is just an absolute genius. One of my favorite games. Favorite game ideas, too. Oh, he's got one more left, although this is very little energy. Alright. Well, guys, with Land 2 out of the way, I think I'm going to go ahead and call the episode. So again, I apologize that I ran over time just a little bit, but hopefully you enjoyed the extra little bit of content. And if you did, definitely stay tuned for the next episode, where hopefully we'll start covering some real story to this game. Appreciate you guys staying through to the end, and as always, have a blessed day.